And there we go. We are live. Look who's joining us here, the man himself. And once again, I feel so incredibly underdressed. Ryback, thanks for joining us for this live Q&A and everyone that's already joining us here.
No, thank you very much for having me. Your girlfriend actually set you up to fail with this because she essentially she mentioned something about a suit and a pocket square. So I said, you know what? We're going all out for Chris Van Vliet once again. Our first one was a real hit. So the second one in gym clothes didn't do as well. I go, the only variable that changed was the outfit. So,
well, you know what? Next time I should wear a suit, you should wear a suit, and then the ratings will just be through the roof.
That's the suits equal ratings, man. It's the way it works.
So thank you to everyone who's joining us in this live chat. We're going to go for about the next hour or so. If you don't know already, Ryback has a very popular YouTube channel, Ryback TV. It's down in the pinned comments, so you can subscribe to him. Bring those questions in. Keep them coming, and Ryback's going to answer as many of these as possible. We're going to put them up on the screen. And once again, just thank you guys for joining us for this. We're making the best of this situation. So, Ryback, how are you holding up with everything?
I'm doing well, Chris, and obviously I think it's concerning for everyone, everything going on right now. And I think a lot of it, there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. So I've been out in the battlefield. I went out this past weekend with 3 Square, who I donate $1 of every sale on Feed Me More Nutrition, feedmemore.com, to them to help feeding those in need in Vegas. We went out there this weekend and actually physically helped hand out food, and there were precautions, safety measures in place to keep distance and not touch people, and had hand sanitizer and gloves and things of that nature. But seeing how many people there were, the line, they said, and there were 10 schools in the community that for this pop-out handout through 3 Square and the just one project, and the lines were longer than they've ever been ever.
Wow.
So I'm concerned that there's people struggling in the first inning of the ball game here, essentially. But I do think ultimately we got to stay positive, and I have not been affected yet through anything that I'm doing with my business and Feed Me More Nutrition. I'm very blessed and fortunate right now. But I have a lot of friends that are unemployed now, and they're at Vegas, being a service industry community, it's hitting Vegas really, really hard. We're on lockdown, and but I'm optimistic that we are going to pull through, and greater times lie ahead.
Absolutely. All right, the questions are pouring in here. So here we go, big guy. This first one's from Danny Hart. Question for the big guy. When will you return to wrestling? Will you use the shell shock, or will you have a new move set due to the surgeries? Just do Otis's Caterpillar and you'll be injury-free forever.
Otis is one of my favorite professional wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling, by the way. Huge fan of him, and I really, really look forward to being able to do something with that guy someday. I think he is a major, major superstar with charisma, just up the ass. So
is the shell shock still going to be your move?
Yes, shell shock. That is my finisher. That move did not cause me any problems. I did eventually stop picking guys up over my head because it was jacking up my neck and my top of my neck and spinal cord up there. But I will not be doing the backpack stunner. That was what caused a lot of my compression in my L1 through L5. And again, I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, scopes, 14 stem cell procedures. I got another one scheduled here in Vegas with my doctor, Dr. Baumgartel. And then we're waiting for all this to kind of calm down with the whole deal with the world. And I'm going back over to Colombia with BioAccelerator. They have been blessed. And we got 3 more. And hopefully from then I will be able to make a decision to get back in the ring to some capacity.
Well, great. And you're looking healthier than ever. So
thank you.
We're happy about that. All right, we got a super chat here from Sock Monkey Mike, who says, here's a question. If I may ask, the Brad Maddox angle in WWE, when he cost you the WWE championship, do you think that hurt your WWE career?
So again, everything you do there, you can only do what you're asked to go out there and do. And we've heard other people like Chris Jericho talk about from the out. He wasn't there at the time. That there was lightning in a bottle with all that, and I lived it for a year with buildings shaking and being that in that top guy spot without the championship. And wins and losses are very important in pro wrestling, especially when momentum is there and a natural chemistry between you and the crowd, and you have to capitalize on that. And if you don't, what you see happened. And it lasted a lot longer than it should have. And the crowd, and they always have their support, but that did not do me any favors. No.
We got a lot of questions here.
Not a corona cough.
Oh no. Got a lot of questions like this one from Craig Brown. How are Sophie and Little Guy doing these days?
Absolutely great. Sophie has had 7 ruptured discs in her back, and
These are his dogs, by the way.
She's the reason why I stopped doing all appearances in wrestling, and she can't be boarded. She requires constant care morning to night. Little Guy's been a hell of a trooper and having to calm down and not play all the time, and they're my life. I always say the purpose of life is love and happiness. You figure those 2 things out, man, there's nothing you can't do, and those are my love and happiness. So they're great, and thank you very much.
Well, man, so many questions coming in here, and I appreciate this. I know that you do as well, Ryback. Here's a good one from Michael Ryan. Will you post workout videos for your followers? And I know that you already do.
I was, and it's one of those things, Chris, and this is tough. I wanted to do a lot more. I have a videographer. I was training with Nick Best, one of the world's strongest men, and I realized that I wasn't quite ready to do that at the level that I was pushing myself. And I have to be. The light is at the end of the tunnel here. And I have to be very careful. And for me, it's with my schedule and how busy I am and all my time with Feed Me More Nutrition, those workout videos aren't just like a 1 or 2 hour thing. You got to plan ahead. You got to get a videographer there. It takes time. And I found that my workouts suck when we record them because I can't just.
Well, they're not real workouts.
Yeah.
Like
you've experienced it.
The workout that I did with you in Austin Aries was fun. And we lifted some weights. It made for a great video. But at the end of the day, the workout
wasn't my normal workout. And
that's
kind of, so I do plan on incorporating more of that, especially the healthier I get. For me, it's about efficiency. And again, it would be great. And I'm up and running and doing everything. And it's boom, this is set up. I get in there. I ultimately want to do these videos where I just go through my whole workout and the video guys stay there for 3 hours. It's unfortunately a lot of video guys don't want to do that though. So.
Well, you should take cues from The Rock. Basically says, look, I'm going to go do my workout. And if you want to film it, great.
That's the goal. The Rock is set the bar. That guy is living very efficient lifestyle. And that, again, is everything I've done with the business and hiring people to help me with different social media platforms on top of all the work I do. Man, he has set the bar at a level, and that is very inspiring.
So. All right, here's another one coming in here. This one's from Grandmaster Cheeseburger. What a name. Question for the big guy. Skip / Ryback. In wrestling, do you prefer working as a heel or a face?
Both are extremely fun. I think being a heel can be really, really fun. As a baby face, it can be a little more limiting, but it depends too on exactly your character and how much of it you're allowed to show. I feel like today, if I were to go back as a baby face, that I would have a lot more leniency with things because people know me much better through the YouTube and all of that. Ultimately, though, I'll just tell you straight up, if I go back to wrestling, I have no interest in ever being a heel ever again with my business. I only want to play baby face roles. And that is from a business standpoint, is everything you do in wrestling is business. And doing that bully role in WWE did a lot of harm to me and a lot of people's eyes, because unfortunately a lot of people take this very seriously, and it's just nothing. That's like I made the comment to the Dark Order guy about you couldn't pay me enough to be that. It's not because anything against them. I'll never be a heel in professional wrestling ever again.
Well, you talked a little bit about your business. I know a lot about it. Feed Me More Nutrition. Your pre-workout is the most insane thing I've ever used. So take a second right now to just let people know what Feed Me More Nutrition is all about.
Yeah, so Feed Me More Nutrition stemmed from I started making my supplements many, many years ago when I was down in Tampa, Florida, when I became aware of some side effects I was having from artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, and started doing a little research on it and found that it was in all the supplements that I was taking, all the diet sodas, and I was consuming such a massive level. My vision started getting blurry. If I were to stand up out of this chair, I'd get blackout real quick. I wouldn't ever fully pass out, but it would go black for a split second. And I didn't know where that was coming from. I would wake up every morning not wanting to get up to go to wrestling practice, even though I'd sleep 7-8 hours. I just had this zombie-like feeling, and I was consuming massive levels of it. So when I realized what was going on, I started making my own supplements naturally and sweetening it with stevia, a natural sweetener. And man, these are all my own formulas I've used throughout WWE, and from my sleep aid to my testosterone booster to my fat burner to the protein powder. This is me, an extension of me and my beliefs. And I believe in business. You have a responsibility. If you're going to make money, you do it in a good way. Not everyone adheres to that in this world. But the reviews, we're getting nearly 5 stars every time. And like I said, this has been our biggest year we've ever had. I'm truly blessed.
That's great. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone for bringing these questions in. Keep those super chats coming. I've always wondered this. This one's from Crow. Do you keep your old wrestling gear in your closet?
I actually have a pretty large laundry room with cabinets and everything. I got everything in there. I got all my singlets, my wrestling boots. I got old Sheffield stuff, old Ryback stuff, Terminator Ryback, old Silverback Ryan Reeves, wrestling biker trunks. I got them all.
Yip, yip,
I've
yip.
only sold a few. Yip, yip, yip. What it do? And, so yeah, I keep all of that.
I want to highlight this super chat here from Alan Caddy. He says, "While in WWE, I wasn't a real fan of the Ryback character. I'll be honest. However, since then, I've become a big fan of Ryan Reeves. I watched the podcast, got your book, and I love how genuinely honest of a person that you are."
Thank you very much. And that's always one of the great compliments that I look forward and I like getting from people when they have one view of you from one thing and then they give you a chance and actually realize that you're not the whatever they thought you were. So, and it happened to get a lot, and I'm very grateful for this.
I'm blown away by how many people say they watched the interview that we did in May and say, "I thought Ryback was an asshole. He's not at all."
And unfortunately, that was, again, when I left WWE, there was a lot of misinformation put out from WWE, which I had to hire attorneys to have taken down through the Sportster, Bleacher Report, things, organizations they work with, and they feed information to. They were not happy with the way that I left. I kept everything, and we got it taken down, but a lot of damage was done that first year and a half with things like that. So I just say, don't believe everything you read, and give people a chance.
Man, so many great questions here. Here's one from Latif Reed. We were just talking about your gear. Is there any reason you stopped wearing the Terminator singlet? That one was dope.
I just constantly change the singlets up. I looked at that as a platform for me, a canvas to put my thoughts and different things. And man, I had so many different singlets and different ideas, and the airbrush people that I used, 3 different ones, I think, for the whole time. And man, they did such a fantastic job with that. I always liked the Terminator ones, were always my favorite.
Yeah. Well, Curse of Maynard asks, who has the best theme song in wrestling?
Man, that's tough. I'm going to say right now, man, I really, really like Baron Corbin. I like that theme song with him. I thought until he switched the character up, I liked his original look and everything when he debuted. I thought that was a main event song. That
was a good one. Here's a very interesting one. If you went to AEW, who would you love to face there, other than Orange Cassidy, obviously?
There's a lot of people there, obviously. With Jericho, Moxley, Omega, Cody, have all the guys, the Lucha Brothers. I really think me and my understanding of psychology and understanding how to be a big guy and I don't have to adapt my style to match a smaller guy's style. I think it would create. And if you watch my matchups, like with Kalisto and smaller guys, and outside of here and there, we did a couple things that were more of an FU at the time to the company because I was leaving. But it was, I feel like I could keep some solid psychology in place and have some really, really fun matchups with those guys.
I think that you got great matches with anybody. I hope in our last interview, that was December, you said you'd want to be back in the ring in 2020.
Yeah.
Is that still something you're aiming for?
I've had to be very patient with this, and it's been 3.5 years over. It's been 3 years of stem cell procedures, Chris, just maybe a little under. And I can't jump the gun on it. It's when my back we just got MRIs on my back again. My back is so much better than it was on the first MRIs. Correct. There's BioAccelerator, though. We're going back in. This next round of stuff should give me enough room to where I won't have to worry about my back ever again. Because one of my issues is I don't want to go and then the damage starts kicking in again. And again, that's up to me to be careful of how much I wrestle. But I handle the pain. I've wrestled hurt for the whole time. I'm looking at this from a health standpoint. And if you look at the history of wrestling, man, and look at, I just saw the dark side of the ring with Benoit, and you look at Eddie, and I remember being up there seeing those guys absolutely miserable. But when like pain wise, and you see all these guys in the legends, man, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that miserable, just broken down 50, 60-year-old wrestler that's not happy. And so I found Kurt Hennig, my good buddy Joe Hennig, Curtis Axel's dad, get in to get out. And that's what I did. And then hopefully I can go in at my own leisure. But we'll see what the future holds. I would like to say, yes, Chris, but it's going to, with everything going on in the world, it's going to determine, determined by when I can get down to BioAccelerator. My treatment here should be in the next month in Vegas, and I'm hoping to get over there in the next 1 or 2 months. So.
Okay. Well, more people are continuing to join this. Thank you, everyone, for joining this. Thank you for the super chats that keep coming in, like this one from R. Blaze Jr. What's your honest opinion of Matt Hardy joining AEW, and do you think it will hurt his chances of going in the WWE Hall of Fame?
I love it. I think Matt did what was best for himself, and I think it is a huge pickup for AEW. I think Matt offers a lot. Not only in ring still, he obviously still wants to compete. I think that schedule of 1 day a week is ideal in pro wrestling. I do not like WWE's abuse of the 4 to 5 days a week. You don't see that in any other industry with no off season. AEW to me is doing things in a superior way to WWE. And there's a lot of things I like with WWE, but I think with Matt going there at this time in his life, and nothing, the WWE Hall of Fame, there's no rhyme or reason in anything. It will, and he's stayed on good terms with the way that he left. He'll be fine. And it's a made up thing. There's no actual Hall of Fame. They put in whoever they want to put in. We all know that.
But there's also no question the Hardy Boys will be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's no doubt. No doubt.
Here, let's see. Man, so many questions here. Here's another super chat. This one's from Dante151. Question for Ryback. Would you join a stable like SCU in AEW, or like the Nightmare Collective or the Inner Circle?
No, so I think right now, and again, it's all going to depend on when I get healthy and see what my options are and get back in the ring, and then probably do a few independents just to show everyone that I'm better than I've ever been. Get in the ring here in Vegas at one of the schools and get ready. I look at wrestling now more as fighting and doing 2 or 3 angles a year. I love living life. I think the pro wrestling schedule is absolutely stupid. And I don't think pro wrestling, I think I've earned the right, and I stepped outside and with injuries, and I've overcome all of this. And I created a business where I'm making more money than I made in WWE. I will be the one that determines how much I wrestle, and I will never alter that. I will never sacrifice my health for a promoter ever again. 2 to 3 angles a year, though, and going all out like a fight camp. And go all out and give you everything I got for those that I'm involved in. I prefer to be singles. I like being on my own. I like speaking. I've never liked being a part of a group. Not my thing. So
I think that wrestling could actually in turn help feed me more nutrition.
It could. Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt, being on a major television program and I left in my prime, and I feel like I haven't. I feel better now than I felt when I was 34, and I'm 38 now. My best years are ahead of me, but there's no doubt getting a platform like that, it's free TV time, Chris. And it does nothing but help. So I agree completely with that.
Here's an interesting one from CJ Scarabaggio. Hope I'm saying that, CJ. I have a tough to pronounce last name, so I can understand here. Top 5 strongest guys that you wrestled in your career.
I would probably say, obviously Mark Henry. Big E is another super strong guy. Cesaro is another naturally strong guy. Cena, you got to put in that. Cena is a freak athlete as far as strength is concerned. And number 5, I'd say Kane.
This was an interesting one because obviously someone's been watching your YouTube channel. From Cardona Rules. Would you try the Carolina Reaper popcorn? And if you haven't seen Ryback TV, Ryback has this amazing, incredible skill of eating the hottest foods imaginable, the hottest foods on earth.
Thank you. It's Ryback Has Heat is it's becoming a fan favorite on Ryback TV.
Great name too.
Yeah, go figure. Everything's a gimmick with me, Chris. From my Ice So Hungry protein powder, my Shell Shock Extreme Fat Burner, my brain feed, everything is wrestling oriented that I wake up, unlimited energy. Because pro wrestling is such a big part of my life, and I'm very grateful for everything that is given to me. And I will always be involved in pro wrestling one way or another, whether I'm speaking about it or back eventually involved with it once again. But what was the question? Oh, the heat. I would try the popcorn. Yeah, there's nothing I won't try when it comes to heat. I got the Mad Dog Plutonium #9 that I'm gearing up for. That's my main event, Chris, by the way, that everybody's getting on me to do it right away on this channel. But I said, that's the hottest sauce there's no other. It is completely trashed everyone that's done it. I've actually eaten a little bit of it and was completely fine on my food, but I got to do a whole teaspoon of this thing. And I say, if you jump to the main event, then all the matches after that aren't as exciting. So I'm getting myself over right now on YouTube with the hotter and hotter sauces.
Give me a whole podcasts with this super chat here. Thank you so much for that, and keep those coming in. Would you ever consider working on commentary?
I think if yes and no. I think if I knew there was pro wrestling, my days were behind me, and I would never do what CM Punk did. I think that I will hold out for a massive return before I'd ever go back to commentary. I would not ruin that. I have to now. If I needed the money or something of that situation for me, not saying Punk did because he doesn't, but for me, it would be unless I absolutely needed the money, and I you know what, my family, I have to do this, and I would enjoy doing it. I like being on commentary. I think I would do really well at it. I don't want to ruin what I have left to offer wrestling, and I think me coming back can create a very special moment, and it is a moment that I knew when I left at the right time and kept my value, and I've been very protective not to ruin that value for that one moment, that there will be one shot to make this right, and I will hold out for that until I believe that time is right. This
is an interesting one, also from someone who's been watching your YouTube channel. Fragrance Fiend says, get Phoenix Marie as a valet.
Me and Cody Rhodes used to, before Cody, we were over in the UK when we first left WWE, both on a tour, on separate tours, and we did a show together, and we met up and had to share a car. And the car ride was talking about me as a Big Papa Pump like heel character with Phoenix Marie as my valet.
Wow.
And, so who knows? Cody may be very open to that, but again, that would require me to be a heel, which I really don't have any interest of being in pro wrestling right now. But never say never.
Phoenix Marie, for those of you who aren't aware, is an actress who does adult films. Yes. Yeah, and has been is a main staple on Ryback TV.
She's been on there quite a bit. We actually just messaged yesterday. She wants to come over Thursday and knock out some more videos during all of this. So
what kind of videos?
Again, obviously Ryback TV. We've done fitness. We've done food videos. I think she wants to do some sort of drinking video, but we'll have to wait and see.
Another super chat here from Adam Castillo. How was your experience in seeing Dr. Bo Hightower? Do you still have mobility in your arm?
It was great. And Bo, actually, I've been blessed with Conversation with the Big Guy Ryback, my podcast, I've got to work with some of the top people around the world that are in physical therapy and rehab, and just have such an understanding of the human body. And it's been a process of me figuring this out in stages through having these people on my show and staying in contact with them. And having Dr. Bo came to my house when he was in Vegas, didn't charge me a thing, worked on me for like an hour and a half, helped tremendously. But what he really helped me was find other issues I was having with my body through different rehab exercises and different techniques I could do, to continue to heal and make progress. Because I needed, for the people to understand, I needed a 5-disc fusion on my L1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And my right shoulder, Chris, is the shoulder of like a 95-year-old man. I have complete arthritis. It's the worst stage of arthritis.
Still?
I have no cartilage left. And it was from WWE injecting me with cortisone when I was there and telling me I'd be all right, but doing it several times a year. I hold myself accountable for believing it and allowing it, and it's helped me just holding accountability for everything. But I got dealt with this situation. I got stuck with it where my arm, and I had atrophy, and there was a lot of things going on. What I'm attempting to do has never been done by an athlete before. And I don't think people understand that because they look at me and think I'm physically, I haven't let myself go in any of this. I have too much pride, and I won't, and I've continued to train and hold it together. And I just ask people be patient, because this is what I'm trying to do has never been done. And it's not tooting my own horn, or I don't give a shit about any of it. It's just never been done before. And I'm so close. So Dr. Bo has helped me. He's amazing. And I'm very blessed to have come across the people that I have during this journey for myself.
Do you think that, maybe you could work in a different way in the ring that would protect your shoulder or protect your other parts?
Yeah. So Chris, the wrestling, so outside of that schedule and being very physical and intense, that in the weight training every day, I always pushed myself. And again, a lot of people not doing steroids. And I think the health terms heart-wise on that is a lot more detrimental, but doing those things. And again, this is outside of being on TRT. That that schedule and the brutality for my style and actually catching guys out of the air, doing strength wrestling, power wrestling is the one thing you can't fake in pro wrestling, which is why I believe the reactions are the way they are with it, because it's really real when you see me do these things. And no, don't get me wrong, there's things people help with in different things, but there's real just shows of strength when you're out there. I just, outside of not doing the backpack stunner, my style will be exactly the same. My belief is you just can't do pro wrestling. It's not meant to do with that schedule. And I've been with WWE since I was 22. I was there for a long time and throughout the system. And my body, like, I'm better now. I feel like when I do come back, I'm going to see all my friends and the guys that were there when I left all beat up and struggling. And I'm physically going to be rejuvenated like a brand new 26-year-old. So, well,
we can't wait to see it. Maybe you'll have a new hairstyle, as the Nexus Network says. Would you ever grow your hair out again? If you have a hairstyle.
I can grow a full head of hair, and I got a little bit of the power alley going on there. And I had that since I was like 25. I love being bald, man. It's so simple. It's so efficient. I shave my head every other day. I shave my neck and my head every other day. I get it done within 5 minutes. Very efficient. And I feel, and from different women that have known me, they go, no, stay bald. You look better bald. I think with my voice, I think with everything, I was born to be bald.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, nobody wants to see me with hair. You're a good-looking
bald man.
Thank you.
Derek B with a super chat here. My 8-year-old Liam says hi to Ryback. Thanks, guys.
Hello, Liam. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a great day and staying positive. Thank you.
JetFan95 says, Ryback, what made you come up with the Mark for Life character? I must say I've become a big fan of that character.
Well, for the record, I'm not Mark. He is my brother. He's a huge wrestling fan. And
does he live in your house?
Yeah, I let him stay here. He's been mooching off me for years now. He was mooching off my parents, and I said I'll take responsibility of him. And no, it's a way to have fun. And again, it's seeing sometimes how serious people take things, and a lot of hate and anger, and which I've dealt with, which anyone who's involved in pro wrestling or just on social media has dealt with. It's a way for me to have fun and create a character. I'm very creative, and I like doing things, having fun and laugh. If you haven't noticed, I love to laugh. And to me, especially with everything going on, I've been pumping out more funny stuff than I probably ever have. It's because I truly believe laughter, and for me, with my injuries, has helped me more than anything in my life in tough times. And when you laugh, you feel good. And when you feel good, good things tend to happen. So
your YouTube channel has blown up over the last year. So congrats to you on that. I mean, but between that and Feed Me More Nutrition, things are pretty good for you.
You know, and I've been Chris, with everything going on right now, and I'm very, don't get me wrong, I'm nervous with everything going on with the business. If this continues to get worse, it's scary if everything has to go on hold after working so hard to get all this momentum. But there's so many people that are struggling right now, and for it not to be, I'm very blessed. But I already have a game plan in place. Like, I sold my townhouse that I have 2 months ago when it became available to put back up for rent, because I saw all this going on.
That's brilliant.
I truly believe, and I wanted to increase my cash position with everything going on. I believe we can't focus on the problem and the negative, whatever's happening, because it's not going to get us any answers. I say, you know what? This situation's my fault. How can I fix it? Okay, going to go stronger on the cash position. If my supplements get put on hold, YouTube is here. I could pump out content morning to night. And this is whereby I will make up the revenue lost on the supplements with YouTube. And so that's for me in my situation. And I think for all of us, so we have to look at, in these times right now, we have to adapt however we can. And in bitching and complaining and whining, you know, it's not going to get us anywhere. Yeah. And you know, you're hustling harder than ever, and you see what's going on. You can't travel. You've adapted, and you're succeeding, and that's what we all have to do in our own way. And I'm very sympathetic. I've seen it firsthand what people are going through. But I'm not the whining and complaining. I just know. I know firsthand it doesn't get you anywhere. So.
Well, and you're right. You have to pivot. And then, look, life is all about these changes that have to happen, and it's how you react to it. It's not about what happens to you. Yeah. It's about how you react to what happens to you. And
bad things happen to all of us, Chris. We're born. Nobody goes through life with a flawless life where they don't experience death or tragedy or hardships. And all the greatest people in life have overcome usually the most bad things We all experience bad things in life. So we all get down. We all go through depression at different times. You got to pick yourself back up, and you have to find a way to adapt and evolve and grow and focus on the positive. Hold yourself accountable for everything. Even if you know it's not your fault, hold yourself accountable so you don't make excuses. You're not a victim. Never be a victim. If you're a victim, it attracts more fear, it attracts more negativity, and you're going to go nowhere but backwards, I promise. So
yes.
that's for me what has helped me.
And, now is the best time to double down on YouTube or a podcast. If anyone's watching this right now and you're thinking of getting a YouTube channel, now is the best time to do it. I mean, what are we spending our days doing? If you can't go, you can't go to the movies, can't travel.
Yeah. And again, this is another thing. My manufacturer that I work with, that does some of my workout gear, they're going all out on the mask and the gloves right now. And I'm like, you know what? Hell, maybe I offer these at a very fair price for people to have during this we have to adapt. We have to figure a way for people listening. Maybe you find a way to get involved and get a 5,000 gloves and flip them for a very small profit. Don't price gouge people, but find ways to make money right now. Find out what people need, do a little research. And this is just one way, because man, life sucks. I can't do this. That's not going to fix the problem. Just say, this is the problem. What can we do? What's going on now? We have to adapt. So
Jeremy Jackson asks this. Hey, Ryback, has anyone ever mistaken you for Steve Wilkos?
No, in person, nobody's ever mistaken me for being someone else. Outside of, people recognize me as Ryback. Outside of one guy a couple years ago with Dolph Ziggler on New Year's Eve, we were drinking heavily, and there was a guy. And we were ribbing each other all night. We were getting recognized all night, but there were a couple older people that were wrestling fans and seeing people recognize us that were kind of out of the game, out of the loop. And so I was introducing him as Shawn Michaels, and I was Bill Goldberg to a lot of older people that night that did believe it or not.
I guess they must have been drinking heavily as well.
They were. It was a good time.
Draconian 45. Who's your favorite comedian?
Man, I love to laugh. I every comedian has their own style. Dave Chappelle, I'm a big fan. I've seen him live in person. I love Kevin Hart. I was a huge fan of Chris Farley. I have a framed image of Kramer. Love Kramer. I love laughing, man. I love comedy, and I'm forgetting a million different names right now, but those just off the top of my head, man. I think comedians are truly, truly special, talented people.
Oh, I agree. And that takes a lot of balls to get up on stage and do what they do.
Yes.
Since you mentioned Goldberg, this question is very fitting here. It's from Finished at 40. Were you offended when fans chanted Goldberg?
No, I understood it. I was upset that I wasn't allowed to acknowledge it on TV. And again, if you watch back when I was a babyface in that main event run, anytime the chants would start, and I would usually do something with Feed Me More, and the chants would switch instantly. And I knew from my merchandise sales and the reactions of kids, I knew we were good. And it was just a select hardcore that would get the chant started, but it had no steam or nothing. It had no negative impact on anything going on. I remember being a heel over in the UK, cutting promos, acknowledging the Goldberg chants, the crowd, and saying some funny things in character. I was going to take a big fat Goldberg in the middle of the ring and the crowd popping, and then never chanting it once the rest of the match because they respected that I actually acknowledged it, which there was no Vince at TV, no writers, no Hunter. So there was nobody telling me don't acknowledge it. But on TV, I was not allowed to acknowledge it. And if I would have, there would have been serious repercussions, as there were on other promos when I would say things to get over that they don't want you to get over. So
you'd get to the back and they'd go, "Why did you say that?"
Yeah. Then you'd have promo time taken away. And and they would be, "Did you hear the crowd?" It happened multiple times. And then my promos were cut back. And then it was, "You need to read this verbatim." And the lines, the verbiage was brutal. And I knew it. And my heart was not in. I didn't care at that point. It happens. I wish people understood this, how it affects everybody there, and how a lot of the talent feel the same way about it. But listen, here's the deal, guys. Chris, it's their game. That's the game they created. So you can stay there and bitch about the game, or you can say, "You know what? I'm going to go start my own game. Thank you guys for letting me play the game for a while. Cool, sayonara. I'm going to go do my own thing now." And then maybe I'll come back with a little more control, a little more financial freedom, and then I'll dabble in this game here and there, but I'm not going to let you guys control the game like you did before. So that's my mindset on things.
Well, look, I think you're in some of the best shape I've ever seen you in. You're mobile, you're in less pain. I think you're going to be just a beast when you get back in the ring.
And I'm looking forward, Chris. I really, and I got it. I'm 300 pounds, 298 pounds right now. I've never let myself go in any of this, man. I do my conditioning like I'm training. My dead mill, my assault bike, my jump rope, my burpees. I had to shut off my competitive gene 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, which was the toughest decision I've ever had to do because I was afraid that if I shut off that competitive gene, would I be able to turn it back on again? But what I've done is train, and I've made alterations and I've adjusted my training physically, but I know, and I've kept my conditioning on point throughout all of this. And conditioning creates confidence, and I have not lost my confidence, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very scared of that going through this stem cell procedure because I had to stop doing my jiu-jitsu, my boxing, my Muay Thai. I had to stop pushing myself on things physically that were actually working against me and my ultimate goal of making this great comeback, this historic comeback that has never been done. But for me, and I have one shot to do this right. So I've just been very protective of it. And I truly believe that it's going to create a very special, magical moment when I am able to, wherever it is, wherever it will be WWE or AEW. I have no interest anywhere else. It will be on a mega platform, and I will make sure that I am financially in a position to be able to do that. And I don't want to work backwards. I left the height of pro wrestling, and I bet on myself, and it's paying off. I have a lot more work to do, but it's going to be special when I do.
Thank you for all the questions that are continuing to come in here. So please keep those coming. If we haven't got to it yet, we're going to try to get to as many of these as we can, and keep those super chats coming in as well. Those obviously stay at the top of the screen so we can see those. This is from Jeff Allen. Be brutally honest. I'm 27, strong athletic background, 2 college degrees, and this itch keeps hitting me. I've only learned about the business the last 2 years. That's my fault. Is it too late to start wrestling?
It depends. If you have something obviously to fall back on, it's never too late if it's truly something you want to do. But you can't half-ass it. You have to go. You have to go all in. And it is. I say, man, if you do it and you have a job, if you're making money, and I say do it and do it as a hobby, and see how good you are, and if it's something worth investing more time in, because the commitment that it takes. And again, if you don't have money or power or fame and you go into the pro wrestling business, you're going into their game. And it is a game that a lot of people come out of broken and very unhealthy, emotionally, mentally, physically. And it's a lifelong commitment. And you got to know what you're getting yourself into. Look at the history of pro wrestling, Chris. How many guys have got into it and actually left and actually you look Rock, Stone Cold, whose runs were not as long as a lot of other guys, got in and got out with the money that they were allowed to make at that time. And Rock, Stone Cold, and who else am I thinking? There's someone else that has done well. For Batista's another one who physically, and Cena now. Yeah, there's not. I'm talking like the history of wrestling where they're not completely like screwed up when they're done. There's not a lot of guys.
What is it about wrestling that people can't seem to get away from it? The guys will leave and then come back. They'll retire and then come back. What is it about pro wrestling that keeps bringing people in?
Multiple things. One, they financially need to come back is one of the reasons. But and it is what it is, because pro wrestling doesn't transfer over to other areas, and a lot of the guys don't make what they should have made to be able to retire and be good. And because of, and we've talked about that, the pay scale specifically working for Vince. But the other reason, Chris, is the adrenaline and the energy. And there's nothing like it in the world. I miss it every day. There's times, and I have my theme song, and I'd be lying. I haven't said when I'm out in the gym that every once in a while I don't fucking hit that on full blast and literally in my head picture a comeback, because I know that energy. It's a very addicting feeling, and so it's and it's something I would like to experience again. That's why I say I wouldn't come back. And nothing against like Impact or NWA or anybody. I like those. I think those places are phenomenal. I just know what I love the energy aspect of pro wrestling. That is the one part that is real. And in my opinion, it's financially and the adrenaline why people come back.
Billy Rock says, question for both Ryback. When you get back in the ring, will Chris Van Vliet become your manager?
I think that's more of a question for Chris. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Ryback needs a manager.
No, I honestly would like to speak. I think that my best promos lie ahead in the future here. And if you watch Ryback TV, I've always been able to speak, and I've just in WWE you have to read the lines. I always tell people, if you want to see the closest thing to me in WWE, go watch the Ryback period. All the footage of me and Curtis Axel on backstage. We were backstage every week, and I thought it always bothered me that we couldn't get TV time with that run, because it would have done Curtis and myself a lot of favors. But that is the fun that we had, being unscripted. I think that you'll see me more in my element as Ryback and the WWE.com stuff.
You enjoyed working with Curtis Axel.
Man, I just talked to him a few weeks ago for like an hour and a half, and I talked to him, I talked to Heath, I talked to Stu, Wade Barrett all the time, or enough. Man, it's Joe, though. I really want Joe to be able to have a run as Joe Henning, and I want him to, and I know it would mean a lot to him, and whether that's in WWE or AEW, but it hurts me seeing guys that I came up with in developmental, and I know they have an idea of what they made or what they're making and how much they sacrifice to the business to provide for their families. And I know Joe, man, he's so talented, and you got to give him, and look, you don't want to be a main event guy. Cool. Not everyone's going to be a main event guy. Let him go out there and have a 20-minute match on Raw, though. You want Ricochet to go over. I'm okay with that. Let Joe go out there and have a 20-minute match and start getting over with his work, because he will. That's the stuff that bothers me, when they don't allow guys to get over just from a work standpoint. And so I can't say enough good things about Joe, man.
Why do you think they didn't let him work under his under his real last name?
I don't know. You always hear the rumors of Kurt Hennig and the ribs, and I don't know if it goes back to things with Hunter and Vince, and with Kurt leaving there and going to WCW. Nobody knows. And again, that's a conversation Joe would have to, and I don't know if he has or not. I never asked him, quite frankly, if he's gone in there and said, like, what the hell's going on? Like, and I know he's had conversations, but man, it's their company, it's their game. It's their game, and there's no protection for wrestlers. It is what it is. And you either stay and you play their game, or you leave and you make your own game.
Mm-hmm. This one's been coming up quite a bit, but here it is from Cardona Rules. What are your thoughts on the empty arena shows?
Don't like them. And the reason I don't like them is because the rest of the world right now is shutting down. We have a very small period of time, Chris, to get this under control, which we are not doing. And we see in Florida, the governor allowing the beaches to stay open. And we're not, every state is adhering to lockdown policies. And I got news for you. If New York keeps getting bad and worse, and California doesn't, then Florida's numbers are starting to shoot up, of course. Mm-hmm. And you got kids out there partying, drinking because the beaches aren't shut down. The longer this goes on, the more people that this affects. We've seen all other sports shut down. And now, any other time, Chris, with pro wrestling, and I understand the show must go on, and for entertainment, this is one time where they cannot pull that card, because you got these wrestlers traveling who people recognize them all over the world. Kids come up to them, parents shake their hands, or they're close to them. You can't control a little kid running up to you and touching you, who maybe they got it from their parent. You're putting the wrestlers in jeopardy by making them travel during these times. I say freeze storylines completely right now. Shut it down when we know we can operate, when we get word, we get clearance on all of this, whether it's June, July, August, whatever it is, pick up with a week or two of TVs. You do WrestleMania wherever you can do it, and you have a crowd there. Pro wrestling is not pro wrestling without a crowd, and you can't pull this shit saying we're keeping entertainment going. None of us, any fan that's saying that is being selfish, and we have a bigger problem on our hands right now, that we all have to adhere to a certain set of rules to overcome what's going on with the coronavirus. And if we don't, I promise you, it's going to affect everybody so much worse in 3 months, that if we would all just get on the same page right now and give this a little time and give it a fighting chance, because otherwise it goes the other way. They say, fuck it. We're going to let it spread. We can't let the economy get any worse. And we're going to see more deaths than ever. We're going to all lose loved ones. So my thing is, Chris, I don't like it. And I don't want to see the wrestlers out there traveling right now. I want everything shut down. WWE, AEW, all of it. And I don't like it.
If you had to guess, and it would just be a guess, when do you think things go back to at least a little bit of normalness?
I think we're going to find out. I just saw something that with Trump had mentioned, where they're going to assess everything in a week. And I saw that the stimulus package, I think for everyone, the relief package, and I've seen firsthand what this is doing to Vegas out in the battlefield and people struggling already in the first couple innings. I don't know if we have to adjust, Chris, and say we can't make the entire world suffer for this, because at what point it's going to just continue to get worse, where we say, okay, what's more believable, what's more reasonable, what can maybe we need, if you have a pre-existing condition or you're over 60 years old or over 55 years old, we have to keep precautionary measures in place to protect that portion of the population. I don't know. This, Chris, could go on for many, many months, or it could be next week we could hear there's a miracle vaccine that they're rushing out to save the world. We have the smartest people in the world working on this. I'm not going to put myself in a corner and get, everything's going to be fine in a month. None of us know. All I know is the longer this goes on, the worse it is for everyone. Well,
I hope it goes back to normal sooner rather than later. But staying safe and staying healthy is obviously the most important thing here. Nareem the Truth, do you play video games? If so, what's your favorite game?
I don't anymore, and nothing against them. I played them as a kid a bit, but I was always outside playing, and I view games and things like that as distractions. And again, I think little bits of distractions here and there are good. They're very addicting, though, and so for me, I just don't get caught up in it with everything that I got going on, and nothing against them. I played them when I was younger, so.
This is such a good point right here from Blizza81YT. How many babies are going to be born in the next 9 months?
I've legit made this joke with my friends talking about different things. People are going to come out of this either better than ever or complete alcoholics, potheads, and pregnant. So
it's this is going to be another baby boom. It really is.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, like the baby boomers, like our parents' generation, that's what these kids now are going to be.
Corona babies.
That's right. Corona babies. Mr. Premium 2002. What made you decide to become a pro wrestler, and how did you get on Tough Enough?
Always wanted to do it since I was a kid, and always knew I was going to do something, and whether that was baseball or pro wrestling. And the older I got, and my love for baseball started kind of dying down a little bit, and my love of wrestling started getting so strong. I actually had sent a video in for Tough Enough, I think, prior, and heard nothing when I was really young. I was just too young. And then I sent one in there finally when I was 22. And I was physically, I think, like 280 pounds and very lean. And I physically looked the part. And I remember I cut a heartfelt promo in my dad's kitchen, and which is on the Tough Enough DVD. If you want, I had a nice, beautiful set of hair back then too, and like very good looking guy. And that got me onto the Tough Enough to go out there and compete with everyone from around the world who they chose. And they took the top 50 for the beach, and we left with the final 8. And it was a brutal experience, but very rewarding.
Do you think that that's partly what got you signed?
Absolutely. Well, after Tough Enough and going through that in the training and everything, and picking it up pretty quick down there with Al Snow, and even with Bill at the time. Bill was really hard, but Bill, I would find that out later, how tough he really was. I got offered a contract very shortly thereafter, and packed up and moved cross country. As soon as I started getting paid, I went to OVW for a month, and then I came home, and I was sitting home. They were just going to pay me to sit at home for a few months, and I've never been one to like a free handout. So I just packed my bags. I went and bought a truck and turned in my car and drove from Vegas to McDonough, Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah. First one down there in Deep South Wrestling, which, by the way, I think I'm the only talent that I know of, OVW, Deep South Wrestling, and FCW, and NXT, because I was season 1 of so technically all 4 developmental places.
If anyone in the comments here, thinks that
I might be wrong, it wouldn't be the first time.
Let us know. Voltrek's official. Who's the best heel now in wrestling, in your opinion?
I like Baron Corbin. I think Baron does a great job at getting people worked up and riled up. MJF obviously does too. But I think Baron has done a great job at being a heel from the beginning here. And he's allowed to get heat, and he's being used, and he makes baby faces and puts them over, but he continues to get heat. And I like his style of being a heel, pro wrestling wise, on Twitter, social media. and which ultimately, though, now knowing and having a business, and I think really works against you long run from a pro wrestling audience, because people really start to hate you over time. But that is being the best heel, being a great heel.
It's legit heat.
Absolutely, but that's what you want. It's what you want, acting heat. Like, it's, oh, I don't really like him, but I boo him. No, you want people to really hate you, which I always tried to do when I was a heel, and I thought I succeeded in that. And that's why my Twitter strategy went to, and it became more attacking people and making fun of people and being bully Ryback on Twitter during that, which helped get me more over on that during that period of, as far as creating hate for me, which again doesn't work out long-term business-wise, but I always go all out with whatever I do, and I think Baron does a great job at that.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left here, so please keep those questions coming. We're going to try to get to all of these. And again, thank you, Ryback, for hanging out with us this afternoon.
The pleasure. Thank you for having me, Chris. It's a great day.
No, this has been great. And so Ryback's actually the first of many interviews that we're going to do this week. Enzo is tomorrow, so if you enjoyed this, come back for the chat we have with Enzo tomorrow. Here's a good one. Best mic skills, MJF or Eli Drake?
Not familiar with a lot of Eli Drake stuff. I've just not seen it. I've met him, I believe, and I don't know. I think MJF does a nice job on the microphone. So that's all I've only, and I haven't seen MJF. I didn't know who he was or anything until AEW. So it's, but I think MJF does a great job.
What about this one? How did you come up with your finishing move, Shell Shock? And what part of being a part of Nexus did you enjoy? That one's from Connor Pike.
I came up. How did you come up? I came up with it because I saw Brock Lesnar against Undertaker. Brock, in his first run in WWE, used to do a stalling fisherman suplex. And I remember in particular seeing him do it to Undertaker in Hell in a Cell, and which I thought was really impressive, which is why I picked up guys like that initially for the longest time. Yeah. And I thought it was the way, ideally, and there's different guys take the move differently. Some guys are good at staying a little more angled so that it looks more like a fisherman suplex, a running fisherman suplex. And some guys were a little more down, which it was more like a Samoan drop, even though the positioning of my hand on their neck and their leg was a little different than a normal Samoan drop, where my arm was around the outside leg rather than in between. And it was set up a little differently. But that was where that move initially, when I was out injured and I came back, I started figuring a game plan, creating a vision of what I wanted Ryback to be when I made my debut after the Nexus ankle injury and coming back from all of that. So that's where that came from. Best part of Nexus, man, is just, I think, the car rides and getting the guys will always have a special bond, all of us that were involved in that. And that was our first struggling and being in developmental and all actually genuinely getting along. And it was man, hitting a home run with it and getting spoiled right off the bat in pro wrestling. And Chris Jericho told us backstage, I believe in Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken, during this main event run, he goes, "Enjoy this, guys. A lot of you will never get back here ever again." And it wasn't him like being negative or that he was very accurate with that. If you look at how many of us actually went on, I had the main event run, and I think Stu had a great run, but everyone else kind of never got back to the main event after that, and it was very accurate.
Bradley Chambers asks, who is the most underrated wrestler in your opinion?
Man, guys like Bo Dallas, Joe Henning, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, these are all guys that were workhorses in developmental and FCW that carried titles down there. And guys like that are the ones people don't understand how truly talented they are. They're just simply going out there and doing what they're told to get another guy over, and they're not allowed to shine for themselves. I think those three guys off the top of my head are just, they're absolutely amazing talents, and they should be making 10 times what they make.
Dominic Paola, what are your thoughts on Gronk in WWE?
Michael Jordan was never good at baseball as he was basketball. We'll leave it at that.
And that's it. Well, he's not really, I mean, Gronk's not wrestling at WrestleMania. Gronk's
he hasn't yet.
Host.
I'm never, the reason it's their company, their business, and they believe that maybe he can get some eyes maybe in the sporting world on their product. I understand it from a business standpoint. Gronk's Gronk, and we'll see if he makes the transition to wrestling or not. I don't know. So, and again, no judgment. I'm sure they offered him a lot of money, and he'd probably be silly not to take it and to
Yeah.
experience it. I think there's a lot of mixed feelings on it. But if he's hosting, I think it's just very odd. He's an energy guy, and there's no crowd or energy. So I think his style, what he brings to the table, is very silly without a crowd.
That's going to be interesting to see. This is another follow-up to NXT and Nexus here. What were the plans for Nexus if SummerSlam 2010 never happened?
I don't think anybody knows, and things change. WWE didn't know, and when they get something falls in their lap that gets over, they will focus on it for a while. The priority at that time, as it was for many, many years, was continue to get John Cena as over as humanly possible and feed John Cena heel after heel after heel. And we unfortunately fell into that very, very early. I got the ankle injury. What would have happened, though, had I not got the ankle injury, is Cena would eventually have just gone through all of us individually, which eventually me and him as Ryback, he eventually got to it. So it is what it is. That was their business plan, was get John Cena. It was the only one they wanted to get over, and that it is what it is. We were simply just heels to get John Cena over.
Well, it seems my girlfriend, Elena Martella, has left a comment in here. Will you two do a food review on Beyond Meat?
I think we're going to have to do something here. Maybe a split screen YouTube on a food review with me, since we can't get back together.
Well, look, I was actually supposed to move to Los Angeles last week.
Yeah. Oh, so that's on hold then.
Well, it had to be because nothing's open, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, obviously, maybe you should just move to Vegas.
Well, nothing's open there either.
But I mean, I'm saying when it eventually does.
Well, I'm still in LA. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be next month or May, or I guess we'll find out.
Things ultimately will get better, and they have to. So, and I think everyone's fully aware of that. But I would love to do more. Chris, I ate a double Big Mac yesterday. I ate meat yesterday for the.
You're back on meat?
No, I'm vegetarian still. Over 3 months. My lab work is better than ever. I went and got a couple grass-fed steaks. I had one grass-fed steak the past 2 weeks, just to have a little bit of steak in my diet.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a food review I'm going to see how it does, because the channel actually slowed down when I stopped eating the meats.
I bet, sure.
But I'm vegetarian still. I'm just, on my cheat meal, and I'm not going to do it every week. It might be every 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to throw a regular cheat meal in there and have a little fun.
What did Austin Aries think when you started eating meat again?
I have not told him. Well, so it was, again, just one meal, in which even Austin said a lot of people, even just doing vegetarian days is a huge step in the right direction. I'm game plan's vegetarian. I love the lifestyle. I believe in it. I look better than I've ever looked. But again, trying to get a little bit of heme iron from the steaks in here and there, little things like that, a cheat meal. But he texted me this morning and about getting together here. So
you can't see those Big Mac wrappers in your trash.
No, all evidence is gone. But the video, if he does watch it, he will see, and I'm sure he will let me know how unhappy he is with me.
We got about 2 minutes left here, big guys. So once again, thank you for joining us for this. Thank you for all the comments and questions that are coming in. So why don't we do like 5 more? We can just rip through these real quick.
You got it.
And I'll throw them up on the screen here. So Ryback, McDonald's or Burger King?
Burger King.
All right. Thoughts on the current generation of big men like Keith Lee?
I think they have a lot of potential, and I think as long as they can learn to keep working as big men and not working like small guys, you could still do the things you do with psychology in place. You just don't do it as often.
The rudest fan interaction in person.
A fan in Miami, I'll never forget this, on a pay-per-view going down there when I was a heel, had multiple pages of trading cards that he wanted me to sign to sell, which I just told him no thank you. And then he followed me around the airport till I got my bags, screaming profanities at me, all the way until I got in my cab to go into my cab before I had to get up early for media, simply because I chose not to sign his trading cards that he was going to sell for money. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on Jimmy Havoc's style of wrestling? So we're talking death match style.
Oh, I don't know anything about him. I think did he have a match on AEW?
Well, yeah, he's signed with AEW, but his style of matches are the staplers to the head, the light tubes across the back.
It's not my thing, and nothing against it, just not my thing.
And I guess since we said 5 more, I guess we'll wrap it up with this one here, because I'm fascinated and interested about this one. What is the worst airport?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
I will say and I like the airport, but it was always for me, the Detroit airport, the walking, if you don't catch that tram, it's endless. On that one of those, I think it's the B gates. I can't remember, but I always remember there's been times when that tram is shut down and you're tight on time. That thing seems like miles long. So that to me was always just the Detroit airport pops in my head off the top of my head. The Louisiana airport also, the New Orleans before they redid it was also not great, but yeah.
I've also seen this a few times in here, and it's pertinent because it recently happened. What's your thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring or Dark Side of Wrestling?
Just watched it the other day. I actually just did a YouTube video that we're putting out on it on Ryback TV for this week, I believe. I loved it, and I thought it gave the people that were closest to Chris and knew Chris the best and have experienced all of it the hardest, a great opportunity to give a little more insight on what was going on with the man and everything, and then just how hard Eddie Guerrero's death was on him. And again, I talk about it in my film, my YouTube video. It goes back down to that Vince scheduling, and I think how it tears human beings apart, and him being just completely, down and sad, missing things. And I think that's the one thing. And I honestly believe, Chris, this. With what AEW is doing, I think WWE is going to have to adjust their business model. Mm-hmm. I don't think Vince should be allowed to do what he has done to pro wrestlers and abusing them scheduling wise. At some point, I think things are going to change, and I think it's changing. AEW is initiating that change right now. Great job on the video, though. I thought part 1 was outstanding. I tell my own experience with Chris on a couple different times on training with Chris in Deep South Wrestling, taking arm drags from him. So check that out. That will be out this week. And unfortunately, it was a horrible thing that happened, but I thought great insight into knowing kind of what was going on maybe mentally at his final days.
Well, we'll see that on Ryback TV this week. Once again, it's in the comments below, the pinned comment below, to subscribe to Ryback TV. You're going to catch me. You're going to have more subscribers than me in the next few months.
I think we're about to hit 213, which is crazy considering just late last year this was like all brand new. So,
well, congratulations.
No, thank you.
To you. Thank you for joining me on this. It's our first ever live Q&A, the first of many this week. Tomorrow is Enzo, same time, same place. Thank you to everyone who left the comments. Thank you for the super chats. And big guy, thank you to you for just being awesome.
Thank you, Chris. You know what I'm going to do? I've been doing this on different shows, and right now we're running a lot of specials on Feed Me More Nutrition on feedmemore.com. I think we're going to give you your own code for this episode.
Okay.
In tough times, my profit margins aren't the best as they are, and we got a lot of really cool specials going on. But I think we're going to do CVV30 for 30% off on Feed Me More Nutrition on feedmemore.com. Give me about 5-10 minutes, guys, to get that code initiated. CVV30 to save 30% on feedmemore.com on my Feed Me More Nutrition. And we started with 3 supplements, Chris. We're coming out with number 10 in less than a month. So it is thank you to everyone for the love and support, and to you for helping me. And I talked before the show about you have helped me. You have had a part in my success with Ryback TV and Feed Me More Nutrition. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and continued success to you. And thank you to everyone for joining us on this one. And stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk to everyone soon.
Get hungry, stay hungry. Feed me more.